What's up, guys? Jacob Ober here. Welcome to my Week 2 game preview between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. The Packers obviously coming off of that impressive comeback over the Chicago Bears last Sunday night, and the Minnesota Vikings having beaten the San Francisco 49ers 24-16 last week, come in with a record of 1-0. Both teams are 1-0, and this is a very big early season matchup between divisional rivals. The big storyline headed into this one, will Aaron Rodgers play or not? He has been day-to-day all week after that knee injury around halftime last week. He ended up coming back and leading that comeback, but obviously there can be complications to any injury, and they've been taking it day by day so far. That is obviously the big impact for this game. If Rodgers plays, then the Packers obviously have a significantly better chance of winning this. If he doesn't, then their chances of winning this drop very low. Deshaun Kaiser last week was not very impressive in his time that he did play, so the confidence level for me if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play is very, very low. However, though, I do believe that Aaron Rodgers will be playing. I can't really see a way that he stays out of this contest. He's a very competitive player. He's a guy who wants to play in this game. Obviously, the Vikings, having injured him last year, broke his collarbone after that Anthony Barr hit. I have a hard time believing that Aaron Rodgers is going to sit this one out, especially given the circumstances. So I'm going to assume that Aaron Rodgers plays tomorrow. I'm about 90 to 95% sure he does play. It would be a big surprise if he didn't. This is obviously a very, very big game both for the Packers and for Rodgers. So keeping that in mind, the Vikings overall, I think the Vikings are a better team than the Packers at this point in time, at least. The Packers are obviously getting better, I think. I think last week was an indicator of how this defense has improved a little bit over the offseason. They had a better pass rush in the second half. Their corners were much better. They got the fourth down stop against the Bears, who were driving to try and win the game at the end. They definitely showed signs of improvement last week. They're going to be having a bit of a tougher matchup against the Minnesota offense, who have their new quarterback, Kirk Cousins, who looked pretty good last week. He threw for 244 and 2 touchdowns. They're going to be going up against guys like Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. That's a pretty potent Minnesota passing attack. So it's going to be an early test for the secondary. But the Packers' pass rush does have an advantage in this game. They're going to be able to hopefully pressure Kirk Cousins because the Minnesota offensive line is not that great. They should be able to shut down the running game as well. But obviously, I think this game is going to be won or lost on when the Packers have the football. Can the Minnesota defense get off the field with Aaron Rodgers on the field? Can they get third down stops? Can they stop this quick strike Packers offense? If they can, then I think the Vikings are going to win. If they can't, then I think the Packers are going to win. It's a pretty big toss-up at this point, to be honest with you. I'm really not sure which team to pick. I know in my early season predictions, which I released just before the first game, I picked the Vikings to win this one. It's still pretty up in the air for me, though. I don't know whether or not to pick the Packers or the Vikings. And this is at Lambeau Field, by the way, so the Packers do have the advantage of playing at home. So that inclines me to pick the Packers in this game, but it's obviously going to be a very tough matchup. I mean, it's going to be an entertaining game to watch, though. It's at noon. It's going to be on Fox. I think it's going to have the lead announcers, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Unfortunately, because Joe Buck and Troy Aikman haven't always been Packers fans' favorite, nor have they been my favorite over the years. But this is a very high-profile game, and it's pretty big. It might be early in the season, but it's a pretty big game, I would say, and it's going to have an impact on the division going forward. So a victory here for the Packers would be absolutely huge. And of course, the Vikings fans like to troll the Packers and talk about the Anthony Barr hit last year. It seems like that's all they have talked about over the years. But I think this is going to be a competitive game. I think I am going to pick the Packers in this one. I did pick the Vikings in my early season predictions when I went game by game, but given the circumstances, given the fact it's at home, given the fact the Packers' defense has showed signs of improvement, and given the fact that Aaron Rodgers is, of course, hungry to beat the Vikings after what they did to him last year, I think I'm going to go with the Packers, and it's also at home as well, so I'm going to say the Packers win this one 27-24. It's going to be a hard-fought game. It might come down to the last possession, as it usually does with Packers games when Aaron Rodgers is on the field. So, anyways, guys, though, that's all I really have to say. I think the Packers are going to win this one 27-24. Let me know what your guys' predictions are in the comment section below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.